Atlantic City, a place of sparkling lights and the promise of fortune. But behind the glitz and glamour, a darkness lurked. November 2006. The air turned crisp, a chill wind whispering tales of an approaching storm. Little did anyone know, a different kind of storm was about to break, one that would leave its mark on the city forever. This is the story of the Eastbound Strangler. 4 women, their lives woven into the fabric of Atlantic City, vanished. Each one had a story, a life full of dreams, hopes, and connections. They were more than just names on a poster. They were integral parts of their community. Each disappearance sent a ripple of worry through the city streets, a growing sense of unease that permeated every corner. The once bustling nightlife now seemed overshadowed by a lurking dread, as if the city itself was holding its breath. They were mothers, daughters, friends, gone without a trace. The playgrounds where their children once played now stood silent, a stark reminder of the void left behind. Public spaces that once echoed with laughter now felt eerily empty. The first to disappear was Kim Raffo, a 35-year-old casino worker known for her bright smile and infectious laugh. She was a beacon of joy to her colleagues and friends, always ready to lend a helping hand. Her sudden disappearance left a gaping hole in the hearts of those who knew her. Then came Tracy Ann Roberts, a young mother struggling to make ends meet. Despite her financial difficulties, she was determined to provide a better life for her child. Her mysterious vanishing act left her family in a state of despair, grappling with unanswered questions. Their faces, plastered on missing person posters, became a haunting reminder of the city's vulnerability. Each poster told a story of loss, of a life interrupted. The wind carried their images, whispering their names to those who passed by. The disappearances continued. Vanessa Curry, a vibrant spirit with dreams bigger than Atlantic City, vanished next. She was known for her infectious energy and her aspirations to make a mark on the world. Her friends and family spoke of her with a mix of admiration and sorrow, their voices tinged with the pain of her absence. Then, Molly Jean Diltz, a grandmother known for her kindness and gentle nature, disappeared. She was the heart of her family, always putting others before herself. Her daily acts of kindness were a testament to her loving spirit. Her sudden disappearance left a void that could never be filled. 4 lives, seemingly unconnected yet bound by an invisible thread of fear. Their stories, though different, were intertwined by the same tragic fate. The city, once a place of dreams and opportunities, now stood as a silent witness to their loss. The search for answers continues as the community holds on to hope, refusing to let their memories fade into the shadows. Days turned into weeks, weeks into an agonizing month. Hope, once a flickering flame, began to dwindle. Then, on November 20th, 2006, a horrifying discovery shattered the uneasy silence. In a watery ditch hidden behind a desolate stretch of the Black Horse Pike lay the bodies of 4 women. The news spread like wildfire, a collective gasp of horror echoing through the city. The victims were quickly identified: Kim, Tracy, Vanessa, and Molly. The city mourned, united in grief and disbelief. The air was thick with sorrow, and the streets were filled with the echoes of a community grappling with an unimaginable loss. Candles flickered in windows, and makeshift memorials sprang up on street corners, each one a testament to the lives shattered by this senseless act. Who could commit such a heinous act? The question lingered in the minds of everyone, from the youngest child to the oldest resident. It was a crime that defied comprehension, leaving a scar on the collective psyche of the city. The suspect, if there was one, remained a shadowy figure, a ghost haunting the periphery of their thoughts. The police launched a full-scale investigation, determined to bring the perpetrator to justice. They combed through evidence, interviewed witnesses, and followed every lead, no matter how small. The dedication of the officers was unwavering, their resolve steeled by the weight of their duty to protect and serve. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, but the killer remained elusive. The initial flurry of activity gave way to a slow, grinding process, as each new day brought fewer answers and more questions. The community's hope began to wane, replaced by a growing sense of frustration and fear. The case grew cold, the trail growing fainter with each passing season. Leads dried up, and the once bustling investigation room became a place of quiet desperation. The faces of the victims, once plastered on every bulletin board, began to fade from memory, their stories slipping into the shadows. Then, in 2007, almost a year to the day of the first discovery, another body surfaced. The news hit the city like a thunderclap, reigniting the fear and sorrow that had never truly gone away. The discovery was a grim reminder that the nightmare was far from over. Another woman, her life brutally cut short. The brutality of the crime scene was a stark contrast to the quiet streets where she had once walked. The community was plunged back into a state of mourning, their grief compounded by the realization that the killer was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike again. The victim was identified as 20-year-old Irina Malenkova, a recent immigrant struggling to find her footing in a new country. The medical examiner's report sent chills down the spines of seasoned detectives. The cause of death: strangulation, the same as the others. A terrifying pattern was emerging. Whispers of a serial killer, a strangler stalking the streets of Atlantic City, began to circulate. Fear, palpable and suffocating, gripped the city. The investigation intensified. Detectives worked tirelessly, piecing together the puzzle of the Eastbound Strangler. The victims, all petite women involved in sex work, were found fully clothed but without shoes. Their bodies, carefully positioned, suggested a chilling familiarity between the killer and the victims. Were they lured to their deaths? Did they know their attacker? The investigation led detectives deep into the underbelly of Atlantic City, a world of drugs, prostitution, and desperation. They interviewed countless witnesses, potential suspects questioned and cleared. Every lead, a flicker of hope, quickly extinguished. The killer, a phantom in the night, left no trace of their identity. Years passed, seasons changed, but the Eastbound Strangler case remained unsolved. The investigation, though active, yielded no arrests. Theories abounded. Some whispered of a serial killer passing through, others of someone closer to home, a predator hiding in plain sight. But without concrete evidence, these remained mere speculations. The shadow of the Eastbound Strangler loomed large over Atlantic City. The unsolved murders left an indelible mark on the community. Fear lingered in the air, a constant reminder of the city's vulnerability. The victims' families, trapped in a perpetual state of grief and uncertainty, clung to the hope of justice. The Eastbound Strangler case, though cold, remains one of the most baffling, unsolved mysteries in recent history. It serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface, even in the brightest of places. The case also highlights the vulnerability of marginalized communities, often overlooked and forgotten. The Eastbound Strangler case is a haunting testament to the brutality that humans are capable of inflicting upon one another. In the dark alleys and hidden corners of Atlantic City, 4 women were found murdered, their lives cut short by an unknown assailant. The chilling discovery sent shockwaves through the community, leaving a trail of fear and unanswered questions. It is a story of loss, grief, and the enduring power of hope. Families of the victims gather every year, holding candlelight vigils to honor their loved ones and to keep their memories alive. Their faces, etched with sorrow, tell a tale of unimaginable pain and a relentless quest for justice. The community stands with them, united in their grief and their hope for resolution. But most importantly, it is a story that remains unfinished. The case, shrouded in mystery, has left investigators and the public alike grasping for answers. Each clue, each piece of evidence, seems to lead to more questions, deepening the enigma that surrounds the Eastbound Strangler. The sense of an unfinished narrative hangs heavy in the air, a constant reminder of the work that remains to be done. Will the Eastbound Strangler ever be brought to justice? The police continue their tireless efforts, interviewing suspects and following leads, but the elusive perpetrator remains at large. The image of a suspect in handcuffs is a distant hope, a symbol of the justice that has yet to be served. The community watches and waits, yearning for the day when the killer is finally apprehended. Will the victims' families finally find closure? The pain of their loss is compounded by the lack of answers, the absence of justice. Memorial services are held, tears are shed, but the wound remains open. Closure seems like a distant dream, a hope that flickers but never fully ignites. The family's quest for peace is a poignant reminder of the human cost of this unresolved tragedy. These questions, etched in the annals of Atlantic City's history, continue to haunt the city to this day. The urban landscape, with its bustling streets and quiet corners, holds the echoes of the past. The shadows of the Eastbound Strangler case linger, a dark chapter in the city's story that refuses to fade. As the city moves forward, the memory of the victims and the quest for justice remain ever present, a testament to the enduring impact of this haunting mystery.